Minister, yesterday I raised with the Taoiseach the overcrowding crisis at University Hospital Limerick, and he sought to downplay the severity of the situation. Indeed, listening to Leo Varadkar, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the dire problems at the hospital were a figment of people's imaginations. But this morning, Minister, we wake up to the news that the crisis continues. There are nearly 100 patients on trolleys at University Hospital Limerick. The hospital remains in its highest state of escalation. All beds across the hospital group are being used for surge capacity. Surgeries have been deferred for a second day in a row. People are again asked to avoid coming to the emergency department. GPs and pharmacies themselves, already under huge strain, are being asked to help alleviate the pressure on the hospital. Day after day, week after week, month after month, vulnerable people are left without a hospital bed. The emergency department is dangerously overcrowded. Doctors and nurses are forced to treat patients in appalling conditions. In 2007, Minister, your party promised to end the scandal of patients on trolleys. That was the Fine Gael rhetoric. That was nearly 20 years ago, and things have only gotten worse. There is now a state of emergency for healthcare in Limerick and the Midwest. The writing has been on the wall for months as regards the escalating crisis at University Hospital Limerick. So why hasn't government stepped in? Why hasn't the Minister for Health stepped in? That's what the people of Limerick and the Midwest are asking. The root cause of the crisis is clear. Government hasn't made the necessary investment into University Hospital Limerick. This has created serious and persistent capacity and staffing problems. Yesterday, the Taoiseach acknowledged that the population of the region is growing. That's true. But what he didn't acknowledge is that government hasn't increased even the target for bed capacity to meet this reality. The Taoiseach denied the staffing problem, but there is in fact an urgent need to recruit non-consultant doctors, additional nurses and medical staff for the emergency department, and more staff needed to extend the operating hours of the acute medical unit. Limerick and the Midwest region also need protected capacity for planned procedures. So we need to know now when the surgical unit promised last summer will be delivered. Minister, the government needs to act now to relieve the intense, unsustainable pressure at University Hospital Limerick to ensure that people can access their hospital and get the care they need in a timely and a safe fashion. Tá stad éigean dála in ospidéal le Hullscoile Limnach. Ní mór ag an rialtas aig a thuairt ar an ngearcéim agus gníomhú éigean dála a thógáil Oireachtas. Minister, the people of Limerick and the Midwest region deserve far better than a never-ending crisis at their hospital. So can I ask you, firstly, do you accept that there is a state of emergency at University Hospital Limerick? And secondly, what action does government propose to take now, immediately, to relieve this pressure and to finally tackle this crisis?
Deputy, thank you for raising this issue again today. University Hospital Limerick is currently caring for, as we know, an exceptionally high number of unwell medical patients in the hospital. And the emergency department has seen its highest week of emergency presentations since the beginning of this year. UHL is currently at its highest state of escalation. Surge capacity has been opened at UHL and across other hospitals. Scheduled activity across all sites was deferred and will remain under review, with only urgent and critical and time-critical patients, including cancer patients, going ahead. The emergency department remains open 24/7, and urgent care is being delivered to those who need it most. But people who are presenting at ED who are not suffering with life-threatening or severe illness or injury will face a significant wait as we speak. The government, as you say, is stepping in, has invested significantly in University Hospital Limerick and will continue to do so. Staffing at the hospital has grown by over 1,000 since the end of December 2019, from 2,814 to now 3,854 at the end of November last year. That represents an increase of 37% in staffing in that period. It includes an extra 146 doctors, 45 more consultants, 348 more nurses and midwives, as well as 84 more health and social care professionals. And we will continue to invest as much as is necessary. In 2019, University Hospital Limerick had a budget of 265 million. In 2023, that budget was 383 million, meaning that its budget has grown by 118 million over that period. That's an increase in 45% and badly needed in just 4 years. We're also investing, as you asked yesterday, in bed capacity, which is badly needed at the university. 150 additional beds have been opened in the UL Hospital Group since 2020. 98 of those beds have been in University Hospital Limerick. We're seeing another 96 beds being progressed as we speak, which will open early next year, and towards the end of next year, we'll see a further 96 beds being added to UHL. So the calls for more investment, more capacity, more staff are being met by government allocation of resources, and we will continue to do that to address what is a significant pressure in this hospital. I want to thank the staff that are working in difficult conditions, and I want to reassure them that the government will apply the necessary resources to ensure that capacity at the hospital increases, both from a beds perspective and a staffing perspective where necessary. From a management perspective, Sonia Cotter, the Assistant National Director of the HSE, has been acting CEO of ULHG since the 14th of February. Professor Cowan, the CEO, is on leave, and the acting CEO will discharge duties in the context of that role. And Sandra Broderick has been appointed as the Regional Executive Officer of the HSE Midwest Region and started in late December. The HSE Midwest Region includes, as you know, Limerick, Tipperary and Clare. So this is a priority and a focus for government right now, but as you called for yesterday and as the Taoiseach outlined clearly yesterday, what's needed here is increased capacity, more resources and a focus on better management. All of that's happening.
So I asked you, Minister, to share with us your view as to whether or not you accepted that there's an emergency at University Hospital Limerick. I can only judge by your response that you share the Taoiseach's view that in fact government has done enough. And I want to reiterate again today that that is not the case, that you are frankly delusional on this matter. I've described to you, and you echoed the facts on the ground: overcrowding, cancellation of surgery. I should also say, Minister, and recall that lack of resources, pressure, lack of capacity has real consequences, real life consequences for staff, for patients, for lives. Lives have been lost at University Hospital Limerick. You know, I'm sure, all about that. Investigations into those matters are underway. And what the people of Limerick and the Midwest region cannot fathom or accept is that in the face of that loss of lives, lack of capacity, dire overcrowding, cancellation of surgery, that government continues to sing the song and parrot the rhetoric that all is well. The resources are insufficient. The staff capacity is insufficient. The bed capacity is insufficient. When, oh when, will government address that fact?
Deputy, we're not singing any song. Stop trying to misrepresent the position here. This is a situation where a very significant hospital in the country is under a lot of pressure. We are putting in place significant resources to respond to that pressure, but of course I acknowledge, as does the government, the difficulties that staff face and patients face today and yesterday and this week in the context of UHL. The pressures in this hospital are not new, which is why we have dramatically increased resources and will continue to do so until the capacity pressures are resolved. That's why, for example, we are now in the process of adding 2 new blocks in terms of more beds, of 96 extra beds. One will open in the first quarter of next year, the next will open in the fourth quarter, I understand, of next year. So there is, of course, an acknowledgement that all is not well in University Hospital Limerick when you compare it to the performance of many other hospitals around the country, and that is why we need to address those issues, which is primarily a capacity and resourcing issue.
Thank you,
but I can assure you the government will continue to add more beds, add more staff and improve management of the hospital.